Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Iron Panther Presents. Today, we shall be discussing the season finale of Godfather of Harlem. Maybe a series finale, I don't know. But anyway, we do have the end of Malcolm as in this show. So we shall discuss that. What does it mean for the future of this series? Is there a future? Also a question. Also a question on the table. But let's get to it. Let's go with Kim. What did you think of this episode?
I thought it was nice. I thought it was a nice tribute to Malcolm. The gun part was, I don't know. Like when they gave him I was like,
that's not.
I remember that in history, so I don't know if that's real or not. And I don't remember whether Betty gave him CPR, which was odd. I'm not saying that she didn't, but I just thought it was odd for 1965, right? 65, I think.
No, it's odd anytime ever because you never give a gunshot wound victim CPR because it's a gunshot.
Also, but I mean, she's in shock. I mean, it's all, as they say, based on true events, and they wanted to show that everybody tried something.
Yeah,
either way.
Yeah, I thought that was odd, but other than that, I thought it was done very well. And even the part where Snoop Dogg was rapping, I'm trying to remember what part that was. It was when Snoop. No, seriously, when it was a very slow rap.
Yeah.
But it was it was about Malcolm was sitting in his office.
Yes.
And he was just contemplating the meeting. I mean the
speech.
The speech coming up, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And they had like a slow rap from Snoop, and the words were very very, very well spoken. I thought that was a nice touch, and we know that was Swiss Beats who did that, right? But you okay, Chris?
I didn't like it.
Okay. So anyway, I have an opinion.
You have the floor, so you liked it. So please.
Thank you, thank you, David. Yes. Anyway, I thought that was nice, and the part that I thought was funny was when they pushed the Harvey off the roof, which I knew was coming. I know all of y'all knew that was coming. I was like, this guy's not getting off the roof. There's no way. So I thought that was funny. That was funny. But I mean, I thought it was a nice tribute. The show hasn't been the best show anyway. So I thought that they tried at least to give Malcolm a good send-off. So yeah. But other than that, Stella, God, she was almost gone. And then they pulled her back in. Her stupid dad. I was like, just let this bitch go. Let her go to Paris. She doesn't need to be running your business or helping you run it. So, and we knew Joe Colombo wasn't going to die because Joe Colombo lived like a long time after this. He would live to be an old man. So, but anyway, that's my rant. It was like, I thought it was an okay episode. So, okay, everybody else disagree with me.
No, just the song. Well, Kim,
just the song. Just the song.
Yeah, I think they just disagree on the song. Anyway, but I agree with you about the send off. I mean, of Malcolm, I thought that was like probably the best they did, for the series really. And I thought that was done well. But with Stella and all them, there's more story to tell. There's more story to tell for some reason. So season 4 should not be a surprise if they try to push it one more. Now that they merged. But Chris, what did you think of the episode?
I just I thought the series finale was all right. I say series finale because I'm like, dude, everyone can just go home now. Like this dude, this man Bumpy's like, I promise you, Malcolm, I will now live my life as a different man now. You know what I mean? And the fact he told him like Harlem is yours. It's the first time he's ever said that. Like he always says Harlem is mine, or he'll say Harlem is ours. Now he's saying Harlem is yours. I'm like, how motherfuckers better not come out with a season 4 with this nigga saying this at the end? Like, no. Like, can you imagine? Like at that point, I'll be rooting for the Italians. You know what I mean? Like, no joke. I really will, because it's like at that point, it's like, nah, nigga, you said you were gone. Like it's the Italians, Harlem now. Take up Queens. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like go somewhere.
Move out. Actually leave.
Move out. Go to Staten Island. No one ever mess around with that area. Go up there. You know what I mean? Like so.
Now you sound like Jumanji.
That's why I say it's a series finale, but nobody agrees with me. So okay.
No, I think it was a series finale, but I hope they're not being like, oh, we got nothing else. Let's do a season 4, which is what you often see. You know what I mean? If this was HBO, I'm sorry, David, I have to do this. If this was HBO, this is the end. This is the end. David, stop it. This would be this would be the end. This is it.
All right.
No, yeah. Overall, I thought it was cool. I mean, it was hard for me not to laugh when Bumpy's henchmen, I forgot their names, like just like they could have stopped Malcolm's death if they didn't get pulled over. They had to get pulled white over. Dudes. It's like all the time. It's like they like when the history of time, like damn, they could have stopped the Kennedy assassination probably. You know what I mean? They could have, damn it. You know what I mean? Later on, they'll probably be there too late before Reagan gets shot. You know what I mean? I just find it very convenient. I mean, you're right about the whole thing with Joe Colombo, even though a part of me was still thinking like, oh, they might rewrite this shit and say he did as fuck. After sleeping with Stella, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe they'll rewrite this one. Like, I don't know. They might try to rewrite.
I still say the draws still hold up though, because he went to jail, right? So it's like he got something. Like he didn't walk away clean. Like I was like,
he got a punishment.
I think they had to balance real history though. To your point, I think to our point, he would have died if he was a fictional character, but since he really is alive, they're like, we got to do something though, because he slept with Stella, and you don't walk away from that. So it's like you going to jail.
And I thought it was weird that what's Bumpy's daughter's name?
Elise.
Elise like slipping Malcolm a note right before all that. Like I'm just like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? And you're right about the whole thing with the gun thing. I'm like what are we doing here? I kind of also wanted them to kind of put another conspiracy in there about the whole thing with Elijah Muhammad, because to this day, they're still. I was shocked that they didn't go that route. They made it just look like, oh no, it was all government. It was the government that was behind Malcolm getting shot. And I was thinking, like, hold up, there's a huge portion of the population that said it was his own, like the own Muslim Brotherhood that actually put that shit into play. You know what I mean? And I just was surprised that they didn't at least entertain the possibility of Elijah Muhammad. Thinking this, you know what I mean? Maybe even have him sitting behind a chair and then just like look at, like, you know what I mean? Something.
Or meeting with the. Remember, they said there's people above us who aren't like aren't constrained by Islam or behind this. Like they made it seem like they were working with higher unknown powers. So to show that it was the Nation of Islam and the fucking quote unquote government together would have made more sense.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But overall, I thought it was for what it was. It was it was an all right finale. The whole, like I said, the Malcolm thing obviously was strong. I would say it was rather strong, even just that long shot at the very end of him in the morgue. Of course, Bumpy got to be there. You know what I mean? He's always conveniently there, right when it's needed. You know, having his own little private conversation with Malcolm. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but overall, he was a good replacement, Malcolm, for the other guy we had the last 2 seasons. You know, he wasn't the best. I still think the homie behind Stacy was probably the better Malcolm, but he wasn't bad. You know, so yeah.
Well, thank you, Chris. Giovanni, please. What thoughts?
This was the most fantastical episode. Like it made. I'm like I don't have like. I'm struggling to find something good to say because it's like, I wanted them to put timestamps on every scene because there's no way humanly possible all this stuff could have happened before 3 p.m. in one day. It is like Bumpy.
Have you not watched 24?
It can be done.
That entire season was one day.
In one day, Javon.
You could drop a nuclear bomb and keep it moving. And survive that shit. Just like the missile in New York City harbor, apparently. And just keep it moving.
But to that point, I'm like, Bumpy went to like 6 different places before 3 o'clock. then you have Powell, who's sitting with Johnson the whole day, apparently, right? And then when Malcolm gets shot, I gotta go home. I'm like, yeah, wouldn't you be kicked out of the office? Like, you're not like a foreign dignitary where I clear my calendar and I just sit with you all day long, just me and you, nobody else. It just seems
they actually did have that kind of relationship. If you read history, they did have that kind of relationship where they did.
They were tight friends.
History,
I'm saying they could be friends, but I'm saying the whole day they're just sitting in seclusion together. Nothing else is happening, because that's basically what the episode was
one day. Yeah,
it was just him the whole day. There was nothing else happening because he's at the White House. They're in the Oval Office. They're having a conversation the whole day.
Were they supposed to show secretaries coming in and this going on and that going on? I mean, it was a shot. I mean,
I'm saying you could have, whatever conversation they were having, they didn't have to keep cutting back to it from morning until the afternoon to be like, we were talking from 9 a.m. or open of business all the way till when Malcolm was assassinated.
But we don't know if we don't know in between that time whether either one of them went back to their offices and did something. They're just showing moments in time.
Well, Kim, it
could have been a different day. I mean,
that's Jamani's point.
Well, no. He had on the same suit. They both had on the same suit.
It is the same day. It starts off.
It is the same day, but it doesn't mean that it was like a day of work is like 8 to 10 hours. So they were showing 2 moments of a day
Well, to Kim, to your point of they could have went back to their offices to that point. The first conversation was, hey man, can you put my education bill on the floor? And he was like, I'll look into it. Then all of a sudden, by the next scene of them together, he's like, I heard you put your education bill on the floor. I'm like, you were still sitting up there drinking though. Like
that's the way you saw it. But he could, when he first came in, he had the alcohol, right?
Yes.
They were talking, right? That could have been morning, afternoon, night. We don't know. So
it's not night,
because and did the education bill. And then came back, and then they were having an evening conversation.
But Jamani,
conversation because Malcolm got shot at 3:00.
But what you're forgetting about is that when you are a guest at the White House, I don't know if you ever, because I did 2 White House tours. That place is huge, and I can't tell you how many rooms they have, especially for when the president has guests and whatnot. So I'm assuming, right? If Powell was there as a friend of LBJ, he would be staying at the White House for how many other days there? So yes, he might be at the White House the whole freaking day because he's staying there. You see what I'm saying?
But somehow he went to work and came back. How about that? He must have done that because he did put that bill on the floor, which I'm sure he can just call.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They just didn't show us. It was off camera.
Yeah, it was a lot of things happening. Like they to your point, they could have did a better job of showing that, hey, I left, I got business to do, I'll be back. But because then he came back and was like, oh my God, Malcolm's dead. The best of us are gone. And then so it's like he did. But
y'all want a lot of detail in a show that never gives us real details.
Okay,
no,
right,
I'm saying he said that. Like he said again, so when he came back, I was just like, there's a lot of thing going on. But I thought it was a separate day too. To your point, until I saw his suit, and I was like, it can't be. He's wearing the same suit. The alcohol is still there. So I'm like, how the fuck did he? Anyway, he wasn't with the Congress. Came back. And then talked and then say, hey, LBJ, Malcolm's dead. And then they had a whole separate conversation after he came back.
That's exactly. That's what
happened.
Yes.
And there's no traffic. And somehow Congress works just fast enough that he can do all that in less than 8 hours and be like, I'm going to go back and go hang out with the president. That's just TV.
That's just TV.
Okay, so that's just one point. But the whole everything with Wild Bill and the FBI, I'm like, bureaucracy is bureaucracy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you get clearance to do all of these different things, bounce back and forth, all in one day? That's the thing that just
defies logic.
I'm like, when he went off the building, I was like, why are they not telling a Humpty the Dumpty joke? Like
that would have been better than the whole cat story. I like the Humpty Dumpty. Them throwing him off the roof reminds me of it's bad writing because that's
still funny.
It was fun. It was funny, but
that was some funny CGI.
CGI was terrible. Like, damn it. I mean, only Double Cross can get to that level of bad. I was like,
no, that was Showtime.
Let's not even go there. We got a scene. We got a scene.
I was like, anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry. But we're good. No, his death though, like this is what writers do when they can't get rid of a big character. When they got a big villain and they don't know a smart way to get rid of that villain, they just kill him. Same thing happened in Ray Donovan. Oh my God, this is the biggest threat we've ever faced. I'll just shoot him and then we're done. Fucking Power, Milan was the biggest threat they ever faced. And they said, we'll just shoot this fucker. And then that's it. And I was like, what? Like this, come on, man. Oh, anyway, that's what they're gonna do with Teddy. That's Snowfall, season 6, episode 10. They're just gonna push Teddy off a roof, and that'll be the end of Teddy. No more. That's what I saw. I saw Jerome and Franklin. No, sorry, I'm sorry, Louie and Franklin. Louie and Franklin standing together, pushing Teddy off a bridge, and Sissy just watching. Like,
no, not Louie and Franklin. It have to be Gustavo and Franklin.
All right. Let's go with that one. Anyway, Jemima, please.
So I like, if it is the last episode, I did like that, you have the 2 Oscar Award winners had a nice little scene, Whoopi and Forrest, that I guess that was probably like the highlight of the episode. I'm like, Mamie is like, can she fall off a building? Because she's getting on my nerves. Because I'm like, it's like she's like, I have to come to terms with you're the devil that I've married, pure evil. And I'm like, yeah, come to terms, because you keep saying it every episode. Like, and it is annoying. Like, come to terms very quickly, because like I lost another job. Didn't you lose that job earlier in the season or something?
Yep.
Maybe for falsifying documents. Like, that's why you should have lost the job. But she's like, it's because I'm married to a gangster. We raised a whole grandchild.
No, I'm saying the guy that came, the FBI guy that we saw in this episode, he was the one who said, yeah, we can't bring her. We're putting pressure on Powell, right? And Powell said, I can't hire you, right? Mm-hmm. And that was like the first episode of the season. Now she's getting fired, right? And I'm like, how did you get the job? You weren't hired.
Oh,
I'm like, they gave like the biggest shout out to Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist's father. And this because they just kept repeating his name over and over and over again.
Yeah, that was his dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was his dad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, they just love name dropping. I was like, you don't have to say his name every time you mention him.
His whole name. His whole legal name.
But do you ever notice though, whenever someone talks about Neil deGrasse Tyson, we all say it. We all say it.
You don't just say Neil. Like,
No,
Neil.
Because I don't know what it is. I think it's just a respect thing. You always say his whole name. Every host says his whole name. They always say his whole name. Like, people,
it's not a title. It's just his name. But like, you have to say the whole thing.
Yes, but I think they hold him in such high regard, right?
It's like a pimp named Slickback. You can't just say
Slickback. But I'm saying, I don't like, did his father have that same thing in the 60s?
It had to be. That's where he got it from. That's what
dad had a lot of respect. Yeah,
he got it from his daddy. He's like, you got to say my whole damn name, like A Tribe Called Quest.
Yes.
And as far as the 2 henchmen, I was like, why is it that do they get a company car or something? Why do they carpool everywhere? Like, do they not make enough money to have separate cars and they could just follow each other? Or like, why are they always in the same vehicle? Like, I'm like, it's like, whatever the worst can happen because they're always together. Like, they need to separate at some point or something. Like, you can catch one of us, but you can't catch both of us. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they do that. It's and the whole gun thing. I was like, what was the purpose of them doing that? I was like, so are we supposed to believe that Malcolm chose non-violence in his moment of death?
That's what I was thinking.
I was
like, no. They showed us that he saw his family and said, I'd rather die than put my family in a shootout. That's the message. That's the message, that he could have defended himself, but he said, no, this is my time.
It's still dumb.
It's still dumb.
And it makes sense because I don't think that actually happened. But I mean, like, this is not real. It's not based on real. I mean, it's based on some real stuff, but not all. So.
Loosely based. It's a lot of loose. They just knew Malcolm had to die.
Yeah. It's like BMF. It's like BMF. Some of the shit.
BMF.
Some of the shit may have actually happened, but probably not. I did like the whole get your hand out my pocket. I was like, that must have really happened. Right? That must have really happened, because I saw that Malcolm X.
Dramatized the whole thing.
Well, no, they did say
I
there
could
was a
barely
commotion.
hear the dialogue because they're playing the music so loud.
But they did say that there was a commotion, like right before they ran, they came out of the crowd and shot him. There was a fight in the back that erupted. So it was just basically to throw people off, right? They're gonna be paying attention to the fight and not looking at Malcolm.
But that particular line of dialogue, like they said it like 3 times in Malcolm X. And I thought
Spike Lee probably wrote this episode. That's why.
I feel like they watched that movie. It was like, this is what people know about the Malcolm assassination, so we gotta somehow pay homage to this one way or another. So people go, it must be true, because I saw Denzel do it. So
speaking of that, right? I was like, Spike Lee gave Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, a change is gonna come, right? As he's prepared, like as he's walking down the street and he's floating towards the Audubon Ballroom and gonna make the speech. That was his soundtrack. In this show, we get Snoop Dogg.
He gets Snoop.
Oh, yeah, what the hell?
It was like, no.
Of all the directions they could have gone with, and just because he has a line about Malcolm, not even the song. The song's not even about Malcolm.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, it's like
I actually thought about BMF at that point for some reason. I was like, should this be in Power or something like a 50? So no, I mean, in general, they've done a lot of modern songs that I'm like, this still really don't fit the time. So I'm like, I don't, and I think it just went with that. Like I was like, it didn't fit the moments,
But at the same time, after he died, it went to the somber song, which fit, right? I mean, I don't even know if that was a modern song or not. You know what I mean? It was like a little hymn, like a church hymn thing that you heard at the very end. They could, I would imagine, why don't you just keep that for the whole thing? But no, you did Snoop Dogg. It just kind of folds. I'm not in that same headspace. You see what I'm saying? When they do that, it's just weird, man.
You're not expecting to see a historic moment.
No, and it was funny because he's like preaching that, and for some reason I was thinking like a Snoop Dogg as the preacher self and BMF is going to pop out. You know what I mean?
He's like, Malcolm, I got this speech for you.
Tell Lucille, I got you. I was like, matter of fact, split that check in half.
I'm sorry, Jamani.
I'm like to the BMF thing. I'm like, remember when Lamar came in there and he threatened to pull out the gun? I'm like, so is that some sort of reference to why Malcolm had a gun? I was like, gangster preachers or reverends or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm like, I don't know what the whole thing. We finally see that Stella is in a nightgown. It did happen. So I was expecting Costello to something bad to happen to him, other than him to be arrested and probably be out on bail by the time we see Malcolm on the slab in the morgue. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, there needs to be retribution, because we're seeing that Stella's father is saying, yeah, I can't contain it. I want to kill him so bad. And I'm like, when is he going to do it? What is his plan? Is it like,
well, what is
the next step?
He promised Stella that he wouldn't do it. So he's like, at least I got him arrested. So I think that's him trying to once again appease that bitch and be like, you know what? I don't want my daughter to leave again. I was like, dude, you don't know that she got your husband, your brother beat up. Like, let's get into that. Like this, she snitched on you. Like, I mean, like, there's so many reasons why she needs not be living right now. But he's like, no, I gotta. And now the mama's gone off camera. But it's like, baby, it's just me and you, baby. I just need you on my side. Now you can guide me and tell me how to fix my taxes. When the fuck did you learn how to do that?
This is what I'm saying. He's like, this is a smart thing with the Roosevelt Island. Where did you learn how to do this stuff? When she's been saying, my father taught me how to do all this stuff.
I was like, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't. I was like, what? I was like, I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, Stacey, what you got for the episode?
Rest in peace, Malcolm. I didn't get the gun thing. I almost thought that they were going to change history and have a shootout with Malcolm that he may or may not survive.
He faked
that was just weird. Nate and Pettigrew are like the worst henchmen
of all time
ever. And it was their idea to split the chairs up the middle.
That's right.
Which is where they came to shoot him.
That's right.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Because otherwise they would have to go out through all those people and run around to try to shoot him.
That's right.
Bumpy and Chan's shenanigans. I didn't get it. Like, are they really retired? Well, Bumpy. I was waiting for him to eat like some chicken and grits and just keel over.
Just keel over?
Yeah.
He doesn't die till 1968.
So we got time.
We see that this is loosely based on history. And if this was a series finale, he should have been choking on some chicken.
Okay.
He sold out all the families to partner with Bumpy, who doesn't have the greatest track record. And where were they going to get their drugs from?
Exactly. They just fucked over the supply again. There's no fucking way these people are going to work with them again. Like, the whole families are going to be like, we're murdering Chin, like, today. And what's going to happen when Columbo goes, I got arrested, but Chin is walking around, so he and his daughter are snitches? So why are we not murdering them? Like now?
Well, Columbo did go to jail for like 10 years.
No, I'm saying, but like, again, he's going to be like, I'm in jail.
And
Chin is not. Like, I saw it so clearly. And like he did this to us. Because like, that's supposed to be the biggest shipment of Doogie that's ever been brought to America. So I'm like, Chin should be murdered. Like, I mean, you can't own
At this
Harlem.
point, I don't understand why we're trying to make sense of this series when we've watched this series for 3 years and it never makes sense.
It's just,
I'm just saying.
But that's almost insulting to the 3 years, because it's always been Godfather being like, this is my town. I'm black. We black. I kill my people with heroin, not you. Now he's like, here's Italian. Please take your reign.
Well, they decided to change it. They decided to make him, give him a redemption story.
Yes, after his
because Mamie lost her job because of him.
Yes.
Because he saw the monster that he is, even though no one's even acknowledged that.
Exactly. Yep.
Did they even acknowledge that said artist killed himself?
No. Nope.
I just want to make sure
about it. Nope.
Okay, I want to make sure, because we're bringing back that painting. Like, that somebody gave a fuck about that dude. Like, it's like he's dead on his floor right now. Probably still.
I cannot stand Mamie. I cannot stand her.
Yo.
I'm like, you a monster. I'm like, bitch, you married that monster. You already knew where you was. Like,
where's Margaret?
No,
damn it. And this is
I'm getting tired. You know what? This is why. And I'm sure that even Kim and Stacey will agree with me, right? I'm getting tired of these shows doing this to women, right? They try to do no. I'm saying no. In a way, it's a disrespect to women and how they kind of portray them, right? They try to give them this high on their horse with this whole like, you cannot be doing this, but then at the same time they write in the script basically having them choosing to be with them, right? Yep. And I think that's a huge mistake, right? It's like you guys are talking on both sides of your mouth right here. You know what I mean? And I'm just getting tired of shows doing that. You know, it's just because what it is that there are women who have gone with these guys, right? And then they're like, because women are, we think we can change the person, right? Oh, he was a drug dealer, but I can make him see where he doesn't need to do that. He's going to get a real regular job. He promised me that. And then you stick with him and you realize, and then this is the thing too, you reap the benefits of this drug dealer, right?
But then you're like, but he's bringing me down. But you didn't have to be with him. There are plenty of other men who have 9-to-5 jobs you could have been with. So why are we feeling sorry for you?
She threatened to beat her ass in her own house.
Yeah,
that's right. And chase her down the street to snatch her wig. Like she was like, and now she's like, I can't believe I'm with this
over a man. Come on. What is wrong with you? Your man is a piece of shit. Her husband was dealing with your piece of shit husband. Nobody is right here. Both women are fucked up and wrong. And the men are wrong. So you're not higher than her because her husband, you know what I mean? Like she's trying to make it seem like she was all high and mighty. Child, the stuff your husband did far exceeds the stuff her husband ever did. You know, so
and it was just interesting that she was complaining about losing her job. And I'm thinking, like, how would you even got that job in the first place?
She got it through Adam Powell.
Yeah, but
Adam Powell. But how does she even know who Adam Powell is? Like, let's dissect
Bumpy.
Well, he was Bumpy's
everything's
friend.
too bumpy. Everything's too bumpy.
Right.
So the reason why, so she's pissed off at Bumpy off of a job that she got because of Bumpy.
Because of Bumpy.
Right.
Because of Bumpy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know.
Makes no sense.
I just get tired of seeing shows like this because I do think it unfortunately, I do think in society, like when you have people overall watching these shows and whatnot, it does something to the people's psyches. And I do think for especially like young males, they'll watch shit like this. And then they'll be like, "Oh, women ain't shit. Like all they do is just complain." But then it's like, you know what I mean? It does. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like,
no, you're right.
When you got shit like this,
YouTube for that, Chris. You don't need.
But I mean, like you got that, and then
you got YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We got a whole bunch. TikTok.
Right. Well, yeah, and then you got reality TV and whatnot.
Yeah,
so
reality
it's just like,
TV, which is the worst out of all of them.
Yeah, you know, so it's like, oh yeah, we got strong women on TV. It's called Real Housewives or whatever.
No, it's called a script, and those women follow a script.
Yeah. It's like
you're paid.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny. As much as I thought it was a bad move for them to use the actor Malcolm to stare at a picture of the real Malcolm. Like I was like, that looks silly. Because he's like, oh my God, I love my children.
He was looking at his daughters though.
But the picture was the actual real Malcolm. Like they should have made him.
You should have made him the picture.
Yeah, because that looks stupid. Like when they showed the real Malcolm on TV.
I like that moment. No, I understand what you're saying. But I know what you're saying. But I kind of like that moment in the sense of like showing the real, like what happened, especially if you already know like what's about to happen too. You know what I mean? You just thought it was just really weird and meta.
Yeah, because I'm like, you do know that's not you, right? Like, I mean, like,
he's like, who this nigga? He said, better you cheating? Better you cheating?
Yeah,
I knew the kids didn't look like me.
Is this even my kids? I don't even know. Let's go out here.
Well, them kids that they chose to play Malcolm's kids, oh my goodness, they couldn't have been further from looking like his real daughters. I was like, who is these? What? Yeah.
It's some producer's kids or something.
Now we won't get into casting.
Yes.
And what was the point of this whole China thing? Like, does this have any validity or tie to reality? Or
I don't know.
I think he was about to go to China. I think that part was real. Like
they spent a lot of time on it. I thought so. Also, the Chin Bumpy killing Wild Bill scene. I thought it would have been better if this was all part of the plan. Like when they made a point of watching each man shake his hand. Like, I agree with your deal. I agree with your deal. So I thought the fucking like the prosecutor was going to be there, and this was all a sting operation to get Wild Bill to be like, you just agreed to working with criminals, and now you're getting arrested. And I was like, oh, okay, they knew they were being followed. They're not idiots, right? But to be like, oh my God, you just popped up here. How about we just kill him? Okay, I'm like this. Stop it. I was like, you did a whole lot of shit when you could just shot this dude and been done with it. Like if that was on the table, you should have just did it instead of this whole cloak and dagger bullshit. Because Stella was like, my dad ain't shit, right? He's lying to you, right? It was like, no, he wouldn't do that. Yeah, he will. He will murder you. Every man who's got these draws is dead. You know that, right? It was like, oh yeah, you're right. I need to save myself. And I was like, and then Jose was like, Bumpy ain't shit, right? He a liar, right? Nah. No, he is. I was like, remember that cat story? That's Bumpy. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna follow Bumpy because you told me the cat story, and that makes sense. I'm like, what? I was like, what is happening? Wild Bill's story about I know how to mess with a person's pressure points. I was like, Teddy McDonald. They both went to the farm. I was like, this is Snowfall. I was like, I was feeling a lot of Snowfall at that moment. To the comments, what we got? We got good episode. My favorite part was when Bumpy and Chin threw Wild Bill off the roof. The deaths this week were sad but expected. And Jerome and Snowfall and Malcolm on Godfather of Harlem. That is true. Two great men gone. The Wild Bill scene was just hilarious because that CGI, seriously, they need to put more budget in the CGI budget or do that shit off camera because that looked real bad. I think he spent the night, but that was all happening in one day. So, all right. Stella ain't dead or gone. Dead first. Maybe she dies going to Paris. Like the plane blows up for some reason.
Yeah,
like
hijacked and crashed
and she gets murdered. She's the first hostage, and they shoot her to prove that they're about that life, and they kill Stella. And then the next season is Chin looking for all the terrorists, and so he's on his revenge trip. I like that.
Amelia Earhart plane? I don't know what year that happened.
I'll look that up. Except in real ACP was a sharp dresser. Wouldn't have caught him. I wouldn't have caught him in the same suit. Oh, okay. The real life dude. If I was Malcolm in this episode, I would have been blasting with that gun. I don't know why they did that silly shit. Like, Mamie ain't going nowhere. She died. She lived until 2009. Damn. And this was a serious finale. Again, where is Margaret? For real. This is supposed to be it. Margaret should have came back to be with Mama or Grandpa or whatever.
At least get off the drugs so quickly.
Off camera.
She's strong.
She prayed. She prayed about it. The Quran showed her. I don't know. I mean, she's living her best life. Hi, babe. My baby watching. She in Florida, living her best life. The Cuban dude was a straight up snake. That looked ridiculous. Overacting. Oh my God, Bumpy! He's turned on us. I shall.
How is he a snake?
I was like, well, he did snitch on Bumpy and on Malcolm X. I mean, and then he was like, "You got, I don't trust
Malcolm." Like Bumpy said, he didn't snitch on the people he was working with. He snitched on somebody else.
But
so it ain't snitching.
All right, but then he turned. He turned on Bumpy pretty quickly. Carmela accepted it, but she hated Tony's cheating. I guess we're going to the Sopranos on that one. Yes, I would agree because he was like Tony. He always had that wife beater on too. I was like, it was a lot of things going on with the Sopranos.
Wait, what?
No, Tony, like she Rainy J, he took it to the Sopranos. To be like she knew what her husband was into, but he was always into other women, and she was like,
yes,
can't have all that. I was like, no.
That's right.
Bob fine, but keep the penis here. And he was like, well, I'm a criminal, damn it. You expect me faithful too? You're asking too much.
But Carmela was another character, like what Chris said, who she didn't like one aspect about it. Well, she didn't like a couple of things, but don't say nothing bad about Tony. Not to her, because she was like defend him to the end. Don't say nothing bad about my Tony. And it's like, what? Her character was horrible. She was just like Mamie.
Remember when he got shot? They spent half a season of him in a coma.
Yeah, in his head.
Yeah,
like in his freaking head.
That's when HBO jumped to shark, Chris. That's when I was like, "Yo, bro, this is in this series now. Like now, this what the fuck are we doing?"
Because it was like they ran out of story.
They did.
Like, you know what I mean?
They did. They were like, "How? I got an idea. How about half the season he's in a coma just making up shit?"
No, okay. I'm not saying this is an excuse, but wasn't that the same time as the writer's strike? The writer's strike.
No, that was the year before.
Yeah.
Huh? That was the year before. That was 2006.
Sure about that?
Look it up.
That was 2006, and the writer's strike happened 2007.
He won't let, except HBO sometimes does it wrong.
But to that point, what I've heard about that season is people say that it's not ignore everything about the dream. Pay attention to what's happening around him while he's in a coma, and that's what happens after Tony dies in the season finale. That's how his family gets treated. That's how everything happens, who becomes the boss, and all of that type of stuff is more mirroring what happens after Tony actually dies.
Joe Colombo didn't die until 1978. which is why he was able to live, because like they wanted to do something to him, like as you said, but like they couldn't kill him.
See, yeah, that's the problem about having all these historical characters in it. When you put them in peril, it doesn't do anything for the stakes. You know what I mean? When you put them in
already dead, wasn't it?
What guy?
The fat one. The one they launched off the roof.
Wild Bill.
Oh, him.
Yeah.
Well, he was a made-up character.
He was already dead. Yeah.
Oh, he was an actual person, wasn't he?
Oh, he was an actual person? Him?
I thought so.
Yeah, he died in 59 before the series even started.
From a bad bat?
Too much pork.
Oh, damn it. See, he should have been a Muslim.
But I guess my thing is, like, there's all these times I think Joe Colombo's going to die. Joe Colombo. And then I was like, no. Like, it takes me out of the moment. Like, even when Malcolm X's life was at stake at one point, I'm like, that's not where you go.
Sorry, buddy.
It's like, I was like, damn, is this what God feels like when he's trying to watch a movie? He's like, oh, shit, I already know how this is going to end. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, that's what
he watches movies?
Yeah.
He's watching life. He's watching life.
He's watching life. Yeah, like
he's like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, he's watching like someone with a lot of
like free will, so he doesn't.
He's like, oh yeah,
he
know 50 million. Yeah, that 50 million gonna go in like 5 years. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, no, but that's how it felt. It was just like, I'm watching, I'm like, Malcolm, you don't die here, bruh. Like, it's just.
But you have to have a story.
Same thing with Bumpy, but they do this all the time with Bumpy, and I guess Chin's based off a real character too. But again, you're putting all these historical characters in it, and then all of a sudden you put a gun in their head. I know they're not going to go, at least not right now, unless you fast forward to like the 70s or 90s or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you kind of, in a way, if you're going to do a show like this, you kind of need to make up like a lot more characters. You know what I mean?
But they put the wrong characters in peril, because I'm like, we know Stella is basically bulletproof now because she kills people, and the people she loves dies too, and she's not even a real person. She's not a person based on anybody in real life. So why is she off the table?
I don't know.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
I don't. She should have been murdered so many times. I don't know. If this was the series finale, she should have been murdered. Him crying, "I seek vengeance for the rest of my days" is a stupid finale. Also, I didn't like they made the whole thing. They made Malcolm's death about Bumpy. Like, that irritated me. Like, they should have showed the family. They should have showed like the national impact, and maybe later, like he should have died in episode 9. Malcolm should have been killed in episode 9, so we have an episode of what's the aftermath and what's that look like, and then maybe some Bumpy at some point says, "I'm gonna find who did it" or whatever. But he died too soon, and this is it to me. I would have wanted to see what happens after that for Bumpy, for the crew, instead of this. They're rushing it to me.
I was like, he heard it on the radio,
story,
and
that
he never even checked on Elise at all, and she was there.
Who's there? What?
Me? I was saying Elise was there, right?
Yeah.
He heard that Malcolm died over the radio, and then you see him at the morgue. He never even checked on his actual daughter.
Because this is Malcolm. I mean, he knows Elise is fine, because I don't know. I hear your point, but they had to set this shit up. I'm sure that happened off camera. I'm sure Betty and the family saw Malcolm way before Bumpy did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure that they were just trying to get to that moment. Of like him, but I hear you. That's true. I mean, he should have been like, "Where's my daughter?" Okay.
If it was really a good, they should have killed Stella and Malcolm, and then both of them could have, sworn vengeance on the killers of each of them, and then that would have been something into the next season.
Now they're both vigilantes. All right.
I'm saying it would
change the story. It would give us something new to do, if you will. Yeah, I got you. Kim, you were saying, I'm sorry. You were saying.
No, I don't even remember now. It's okay.
So I think you're trying to say, like, you want them to unpack a story like this is a real show.
Yeah. You want it to, but and there's nothing wrong with that, David. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It is something that you want to happen. Like, you want a well-rounded story, right? But unfortunately, this series has never really been that for us, right? It's just kind of all over the place with certain things.
It started off that way.
Well, it didn't. Season 1 was pretty good. And then even into season 2, it was pretty good, right? But then it just kind of lost its way. And I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe they changed writers or something. I don't know, but it just went a different way.
So we were when we picked up season 2, we said that because I'm thinking because of COVID or whatever, because they skipped a whole year because of COVID, right?
Yeah, no, almost 2 years actually. Almost.
So like, so
what you just say? Did you blame a show being delayed because of COVID?
Look, Chris, I don't. This is
no. I think they might have. I think maybe they could have changed writers because of COVID, right? Or some of the writers, or things could have happened.
Well, no. I mean, Chris knows because he loves to play COVID for everything. But I'm saying for this though, remember season 1 ended with him saying "fuck the families" and they were coming after him, right?
Right.
That was season 1. Season 2 was supposed to be him on the run, and because they skipped the whole fucking year, like they shoved all that into like 15 minutes of the first episode, and we were like, "What?" And like, so it just changed. I think that kind of maybe changed the whole trajectory of the show, what they were trying to do, and then they were just trying to put this together. I mean, but yeah,
and then the whole series, the whole time they're trying to play catch up, basically.
Yeah, it seemed like, and I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing right now?" Because I was like, "This." Anyway. But it was a rush finale, a series finale. If this is it, yeah, I was like, they could have did better. They could have spaced it out, you know, and see who is bumpy after Malcolm, and that kind of thing. But anyway, let's get the Yellow Jackets. Kim, anything else for the series?
No, like I always say, all the actors did what they were given to do, right? They have no control over that. Well, the executive producers are. So Forrest Whitaker did have some control over what the story was, right?
That's right.
But you know, still, it was the actors. They looked the part, they played the part, they did their job, right? And unfortunately, the story wasn't the best. But I would say overall, that's what I enjoyed the most was their acting. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, and great actors, as you said, right? I mean,
of course, yes, absolutely. Forrest Whitaker, I'd watch him in anything. He's just a really great actor.
Yeah, and I love Chin.
The guy who plays Chin.
I love Chin. I love Chin.
I love Chin. He's always been.
He was like Kingpin in the last couple episodes. He was like, oh, he came out Daredevil.
With that, Chris, I promise you that hairdo. Bet he was filming. He was filming fucking Marvel and was like, I got another show to do.
I think you're right. So
that's why he let his hair grow a little bit, because he couldn't be bald because that'd be too obvious, right? Yeah. So he was like, give me a couple of weeks and let me give some hair on my head, and then I'll come.
It could be a wig.
Oh no, that
looked like it was his hair. That was way too.
Well, I mean, but if he's playing Kingpin, they can always put a skull cap on him to make him look bald.
But
in the past he really went bald for the character. That's why that's why to your point, when he just had like little like kind of baby hairs. Like coming back in Godfather Harlem, I'm like, oh, he came back from Marvel. I can tell.
Yeah, that's what it's like. He just got on set. He's like, fuck, I got another contract.
I used to watch him on Law. I think it was Law and
Order, Criminal Intent.
Yes. I used to love him on that.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. He's a talented actor. He's
just solid. I mean, Men in Black. I mean, he just had a long history of just doing good stuff. You know what I'm saying? He had the Oscar dude. But I mean, he's a working actor, as they say.
There's some actors you just don't necessarily need an Oscar or Emmy for them to appreciate their work. He's one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but like, I don't see anyway, that's a whole video. Stacey, anything else for the series?
No.
Yeah. I enjoyed Giancarlo. Is that his name? Yeah. Great actor. Somebody said Forrest Whitaker's daughter was one of the Muslim women.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I almost expected Omar to be in on it, but I guess he was actually loyal.
Oh,
yeah. Someone said
them all crying and whatnot. I'm like,
yeah, good redemption.
Like,
he was crying a whole lot for this man just wanting to kill him just last season. I'm like,
So I'm changed.
People can have a change.
He should have been like, yes, Malcolm's going.
I don't know. Kim, that was some serious tears. That was like, yo, my best friend died. I just tried to kill him 2 years ago.
Since they made Elise so important to this thing, he should have ran to save her because he thought like it was like a mass assassination. He was like, "No, baby, I got you." And then you can see them being together. 8 months later, like double cross. But we'll get to that. We'll get that. I was like, get the babies. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right, Jemani, please. Final thoughts, please.
There's really nothing really left to say. I'm like, other than
There you go.
Next season. I want to see them do like the trials at the
Next season
in Washington.
Is he
Isn't this
serious
it?
right now? Did he just say next season?
I gotta say, MGM Plus is not very good at showing the future of anything. They don't do the next on stuff. They don't do a good. It'll be like, hey,
but it does say, it says the date it started, then it has a dash, and it says 2023. When that happens, the show is over, people. But okay.
I hear you. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I hear, but even then though, a show this size, they should have said final season coming. Just like Snowfall, they weren't like, oh yeah, by the way, this is it. Like they set it up to be like, you're about to see the ending of a great show. Yeah. Something at this level, they should have did that, so people are prepared. Maybe
it could be too because they were merged, right? Because they took over. Who weren't they on? They were on Epics, right? So maybe because it was original Epic show, right? Maybe they're trying to say, as far as Epics, this is it, right? It's because they're showing it as an MGM Plus original. So maybe the series will go forward as an original, but not as, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right. If they're transitioning, they may do something new.
Yes, exactly.
I'm still like, because we know, like with shows that are intended to go to end, and it's good enough, they do kind of let you know, like House Divided, relatively, hey, this is the last final season, blah, blah, blah. And then the shows that ain't shit, they're like, oh, never mind, you ain't coming back. I was like, oh, damn it. Let the right one in. And American Gigolo, Queen.
But
I can do this all day.
I'm saying to that point, like I saw, like I guess like social media. I'm like they're like Swiss Beats and other people are promoting it like it's just the season finale. But when you look at the official page, they're not even posting anything like after the premiere in January. So it's like I don't know what.
And like again, that's what Kim's going to. But also like Showtime and Paramount, they're merging. A lot of content is dropping off. You know, maybe transitioning over. So like they're just in turmoil to figure out what the channel is going to do. But from
it's coming money back, too, right? It could be money because of the transitioning, right? Yeah. Are they going to continue to pay these people who are worth the money, right? Yeah. Are they going to continue to pay these people, or are they just going to let the show end? Right.
Also true. And again, they killed Malcolm. So they could be like, look, that was the show. Right. So we got a good breaking point in history, or this shit has to continue till he chokes on a piece of chicken. And I'm like, how many more seasons is that going to be?
I don't know. They had to do the Muhammad Ali arc. So we got to have Muhammad Ali play one of Bumpy's henchmen temporarily. And he just starts punching shit out of him or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's going to be next season.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was saying, like I want them to do like the commission trials, like how they had in was it Godfather 2 or whatever, where the guy comes out and rats on everything.
I mean, there is historical material to work with, and we will. If they do say season 4 is coming, we'll do a predictions video.
I will say this was the end. I'll say this. I commend them for at least trying to do the whole thing with the modern music. Like I could see how they thought. At times it could work. I mean, you know, obviously we've had other shows like yours, like Lovecraft Country did that. It was not. But Lovecraft Country wasn't really based off of. I mean, it was based off of time, but it wasn't like historical, actual context or anything like that. So, I will commend the show at least trying to go a different route. You know, if this is it, you know. That from Underground. Oh, Underground did that too. See, I didn't watch Underground. Underground did that. Okay. That's weird. I don't know how I feel about that.
The opening scene was like Kanye West.
So people just saying,
he fled from the plantation and it was Kanye West playing.
That's kind of weird. Can you imagine like you watching
It was actually pretty good.
But they're saying like nigga this. Meanwhile, the white dude's like, come here, nigger. Like
you gotta remember that they're trying to promote this to a younger audience, right? They want the younger people to come in, so that they're gonna give them that music. No one wants to hear old timey hymn, and you're 19, right?
I mean, what you do is you do like Swarm. You put like Billie Eilish in there, make her like the slave owner's wife or something. Like you put young people, like young celebs in there. You put like Beyonce, you know, who saves them all or something. You know what I mean? You do shit like that. I don't know if necessarily just putting music because it's hip and young.
Everything's kind of old now, isn't she?
I guess my point is, I think
got 3 kids.
I guess my point is
she mommy me.
I think you need more than just music. I think it's just these old white men sitting there thinking like, what do kids like? Oh, they love that hip hop or whatever.
Swiss Beats did this one.
Yeah, dude, let's not.
John Legend did Underground.
So let's not do that. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
but who hired John Legend?
Come on, Chris.
No, these no. They actually Underground.
They did Underground. And
John Legend went
hey,
to.
Let me do this.
John Legend went to them to make the show.
Yeah,
it was his idea, and he went to the network to make it. Just like this
the
show. Swiss Beats had to do the same thing with Forrest Whitaker. He went to the station, and they did it together. It was them who went to them, the white people, as you want to say.
And the white people like as you produce this movie, this show, we want you to do the music for it, and then I want you to tap dance.
It's Swiss Beats and it's John Legend. Who else would do the music?
I know, right? Come on, Chris. Hey, we'll get off track.
But regardless of all of that, I'm like, even when
Andrew
you base a show on hip hop, they take the hip hop out, like Empire. How are you singing at a rap battle? Like these networks only want a certain amount of hip hop in it to a certain degree.
Oh dear,
that's a whole other video. Anyway, they may start with Frank Lucas. Everybody's talking about the Frank Lucas thing, and that would be interesting. That could be the next time historical marker to be like, now we're done. Since he's done with drugs, who's the next one? And Frank Lucas is the rise. It could be next season. The final season could be the rise of Frank Lucas.
That would be a good. You know what? That's a
great idea. Like a young Frank Lucas. Yeah,
that could be a great idea. Yeah, they could make the next.
Yeah, he was in New York.
Right, Godfather Harlem. It could be Frank Lucas.
Yeah,
it could be Matthews. What's this guy? The guy Matthews. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. But anyway.
It's the flashy one with the meat coat.
That was Frank.
Oh yeah. He kind of made the change popular. He started off doing the change. Yeah.
So again, if to not repeat the story. So yeah, so we agree. If there is a season 4, Bumpy does say I'm done with drugs. Frank Lucas takes over. You know,
Frank Matthews. That's his name. Frank Matthews.
Frank Matthews.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there are historical characters in Harlem they can work with. I love the music in the show though. This is great. This is great music. Like Queen was shit. I'm just saying, like, I've seen bad, and Queen was bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like
I know you want the nasty girl.
Street state of body.
I was like, damn it. I was like, I wanted to throw my fucking TV. I was like, anyway, all right, guys. Let's get to a show that has some random 80s music for 90s kids. And that is
really?
Yeah, I was like,
you didn't listen to the 80s music in the 90s? Is that what you're trying to say?
96, no. 96, I was listening to 95, 96 music.
I listen to all music at any genre.
It's too, they're off. It's off. Like there's a lot of
what?
I was like, it's like there's a lot more 90s stuff they need to be playing.
He's being nitpicky.
Oh man, this is gonna be a fun video.
I was like, we're talking about music anyway. I would say I love y'all.